parents tell me when I was about 4 or 5 years old, I used to be so scared of water that I would not even go near a small jharna. 18 years from then you're commanding a large gas tanker, and on my first ship, I should not say it was a near-death experience, but could have been.
With AI and short form learning growing rapidly, do you think the traditional MBA is at risk of becoming obsolete?
Every 6 to 8 years, you need to reinvent yourself. And in today's world, if you don't reinvent yourself every 6 to 8 years, you will become irrelevant.
So how did your transition to GMS happen? Because you were with Mercator.
You have all the right questions.
Okay, looking ahead, what tech startup or innovation ideas that you think are going to be the part of future maritime industry, and what are the things that you are most excited about? Okay guys, welcome back to PortToPort Podcast, your gateway to the world of shipping, sailing and the global trade. I am Captain Rajat, a seasoned marine pilot, and each week I sit down with the top industry experts, maritime leaders, entrepreneurs, some people who have actually made the difference in the global shipping industry. So if you want to know about the forces behind maritime trade, the global shipping, this is your channel. And for our sailing community, this is your chance to learn things beyond sailing and ships. I give you insights of what is happening in the shipping industry beyond only ships. So stick around, and we have very interesting guest today with us who is ex-master mariner, who has done MBA from a top business school in France. Then he worked with a French ship owner. Then he worked with the largest listed company of shipping company of India, Mercator Shipping. Then he joined GMS, and now he's working with Alphard Shipping. So I welcome you, Captain Gurpreet Malhi. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Rajat, thank you so much for inviting me, and it's a pleasure to be here, and I look forward to a very interesting conversation.
Sir, first thing first. Your father was an IAS, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, for this kind of family, how they agreed, how your family agreed to send you to ships. Tell me that first.
Okay, so it's not a question of whether my family agreed or not, and I really don't know why even today there's certain amount of stigma attached to a career at sea, because I believe it's a wonderful career. But what you said, there's definitely an element of truth there. When I told my parents and I told the rest of my family that I want to be at sea, so there was definitely resistance. But I think eventually it's just not what your parents want. I think life has a plan for you, and eventually I think it all falls into place.
Okay, so what was your father's reaction when you told him that you want to explore the unpredictable world of shipping instead of
it's
doing civil services?
It's interesting you asked that. In fact, we have 3 siblings. I have 2 sisters, and I'm the youngest. So my sister, who's just elder to me, she wanted to be a civil servant, and my father was very clear that at that point, being a girl, it's not the ideal profession for her, and he kind of dissuaded her. I think
Why is that?
I don't know, and maybe I'm a bit wrong there.
Yeah, because civil servants, they have so much power, right?
Yeah, but also, when you see things from the outside, you have a different view of how the world works. But when you're inside, you know the nitty-gritties and the complexities which you may not have when you're looking from outside. True. So perhaps my father thought back then, now the world is a completely different place, that wasn't an ideal career for a woman. Yeah, so back to my story. So I think the first conversation we had was in the September or October of 1992. And he just brushed it aside. And he said, yes. And he thought it's a passing whim. And in 3 months, I'll get done with it, and then I'll be back to whatever I was doing, and I'll continue with my graduation. But I think it persisted, and eventually, I applied to a few shipping companies.
But you were a Delhi kid.
Yeah.
How did you know about shipping, sailing? Who introduced you to ships?
Okay. So yes, back then in the early 90s, you're right in saying that there were not a lot of people from
Yeah,
north,
there was no information. Yeah, correct.
who would be out at sea. I think the usual suspects for people from coastal regions, Kolkata and Bombay.
Exactly.
But having said that, there was always a large number of people from the defense background who would go to Navy, yeah, and to the merchant Navy. I'm not that I'm from that background, but I did know about it. And one of my very dear uncles was also in SCI on the engineering side, so there was some influence from him. I mean, in my very formative years, it's not that I had taken a decision, but I definitely used to hear stories, and I knew about life at sea.
Yeah.
But my parents tell me when I was in my early years, 4 or 5 years old, I used to be so scared of water that I would not even go near a small jharna.
Same thing with me.
Yeah, and I say jharna because I was born in Srinagar and I lived there. There were a lot of streams, flowing close by, and I would hesitate even to cross over. And now Jhelum, of course, is in the news, yeah. So it flows through Srinagar, and we had to take the shikara to cross the river, yeah. And I used to be so scared, even to take my feet off the shore and get into the shikara to cross. And then, in
You're like
18 years from then you're commanding a large gas tanker, and
Interesting. You started out pursuing a BA in economics. What changed?
Yeah, so I'll tell you. I think, especially in my case, there's a story to everything. And I don't know if this is the case for others or not. So I'd finished my schooling from Delhi. I went to DPS Mathura Road. So I had reasonably good grades in class 12. I started doing BA economics from Delhi University.
But why BA? I mean, there were a lot of options, right? BSc or BTech, no?
I'll tell you half.
Or
of
your
my-
father advised you to
No.
BA.
Father didn't advise me. He probably, if he's hearing this, he will probably say I did. There's a background and there's another backstory. So half of my family are all doctors, yeah, and they've all studied biology and so on and so forth. So even when I was in grade 11, the first decision I took is that I'm not going to study biology. Yeah. So I just shut the route to being a doctor. Business and economics always interested me, and that's why back then I had the choice of doing BCom or economics, but I chose economics over BCom. If you ask me why, probably I would not know, but that's how it was.
Okay, and what about the knee injury that you had? How was it a pivotal role in your maritime journey?
Yeah. So, life at college was going pretty good. I'd been through the first quarter of year one.
Which college were you in?
I was in Khalsa College. Yeah. So I was in Khalsa College.
Khalsa College was very famous because of beautiful people around
course.
there. Yeah.
We had the most beautiful girls.
Yes.
And right opposite was Miranda House, which had a larger number of beautiful girls.
Course.
So yeah.
Everybody
so
knows Miranda
it was good to be in Khalsa. And after the end of 3 months, two things happened. I don't know if you recollect or not. There was this huge student protests in Delhi around the Mandal Commission. Yeah, so colleges shut down for a while. At the same time, and back then I used to have a motorbike. Yeah, and I actually fell down and injured my knee. It wasn't a very bad injury, but I was advised bed rest for about 2 weeks. And in the same period, a family friend whose son, my dear friend now, Sarpreet, who's 3 years senior to me, was
Shubpreet?
Sarpreet Kalo. Sarpreet Kalo, yeah. So he was in Delhi and he was doing his Part A, Part B and all those colleges, and he fell sick, yeah. And then his dad spoke to my dad and said, can he come stay a few days for home care? And my dad said, of course, yeah, he's most welcome. And then, he with his bad flu.
So he was
viral,
sick and you were also sick. So.
Yeah. So we were like lying down on the bed, chatting all day and he was telling me stories about South America, shipping, so on and so forth, and the rest. I really don't need to mention all that, yeah.
Right.
So so that is, I think that's, in those few days is when I think my mind was made that this is what I need to do in life.
Interesting. Let's rewind to your first ship. Do you remember your first ship and what was the interaction with chief officer?
I remember my first ship, and I also remember the journey to my first ship. And back then, as cadets on an Indian company, I and one more cadet, yeah, we were in Bombay. We went to the shipping master, signed the indentures, I test, did all of that, and we were given a train ticket, yeah, on this second class train ticket to Kolkata. I was alone in Bombay because my family was in Delhi. Luckily, my co-cadet, Sajid, he was from Bombay. So he had tons and tons of food. His mother had prepared buckets full of food, yeah, which we carried with us. Yeah. So I think the journey back then was more than 36 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
So we reached Kolkata in that second class.
But they never used to give flights?
Back then, no. Back then there was no flight. I and Sajid reached on a second class train from Bombay to Kolkata. And I don't know, I think it was noon. And then one agent, I don't remember which agency, came in that Khatara ambassador and took us off and drove us straight to Bajbaj.
Okay.
Yeah, Bajbaj is a small river port.
Yeah.
And that's the first ship I joined. An oil tanker called Aditya Vijay.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, we climbed up the gangway, and then we kind of saw this. And it's the first time I was on board a vessel, yeah. And I was also one of those guys who'd not even done pre-C. Back then, it was not essential to do pre-C.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can just go on board.
Yeah, I just did my eye test. I did my indentures, and the company took a test. At the end of it, they said, yes, you're fit. I went to doctor. Yeah, he did the medical. And at the end of it, I was a cadet.
Interesting. And my time, we had to do pre-C and do all the courses, and then you get the ship. So things were different back then.
And as soon as I boarded, our chief officer was one Mr. Satyanarayana, ex-Indian Navy chief officer. So very strict.
Very strict.
Yeah. And the first thing he told me is that you have 5 minutes. Yeah. Go change and do whatever. And after that long journey and that train and then road and yeah, we were there on deck, and then he gave me a sounding tape, and he said, go take sounding of all tanks. So there I was with the pump man.
What is sounding? What is he talking about? Yeah, I mean, correct.
Yeah, so I had that metal tape in my hand, and I walked up and down the deck and sounded some 20-odd tanks. Those were my first 2 hours on a vessel.
Okay, and you were carrying the academic books on board, or what was that?
No, not at all. Not at all. And it's very interesting you asked that question because...
As a cadet, you were supposed to...
We were, but like I said, I just landed up on a ship, and in fact, the second mate, Sandeep Dhol, yeah, I remember those names. He asked me, have you brought any books? I said, yeah, I brought the books. He said, okay, come, let me see the books. So I went to my cabin and I think there was a James Hadley Chase and there was a Jeffrey Archer, yeah, which I had bought from the streets of Kolkata.
Yeah.
And
I used to read Jeffrey Archer.
Yeah, Jeffrey Archer was my favorite back then.
Amazing.
And I had 3-4 of those and I took them down and I showed them to the second mate. Yeah, but what is this? These are novels. I said, yeah. He said, but where are your books? I said, what books? He said, to study. I said, I didn't come to sea to study. I came here because I didn't want to study. Then he said, there's a book called Principles of Navigation by Subra. I said, I don't know.
Yeah.
Then he said, oh, okay, next time you go to Bombay, you must go and buy those books.
Okay. Interesting.
But luckily there were senior cadets who had those. And then slowly and reluctantly, I started.
Correct.
I had no option but to read them.
So, Captain,
Yeah.
any incidents from the ship that changed your perception to life, or any accidents or anything that you want to talk about?
Yeah. On my first ship, the same vessel, Aditya Vijay, I should not say it was a near-death experience, but could have been. Back then, safety was not paramount. Yeah, safety was a byword, which if it was convenient, you would do what's safe. Otherwise, you will do what's convenient. And shore leave has always been a big motivator.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Whenever the vessel will come to Bajbaj, the vessel used to be there for about 2 odd days.
Okay.
And as young cadets, we will do our 6 on, go out, 6 hours, come back, then again go out and all that, and hardly get any sleep. At the end of the stations, just before the vessel had to leave, the chief officer or someone, captain or senior cadet, asked me to go to take the 6-point draft.
Okay. All around the vessel.
Yeah.
So were you at anchor?
No, this is a river port.
River port.
So it's for the buoy. Yeah, it's for the pontoon. Sorry, yeah, there are buoys in the front and there's a pontoon. Yeah. So the front drafts I read from top. The midship draft I read going down on the coolie ladder.
True.
And back then you used to be alone.
Yeah.
Take the coolie ladder, go down, come up, pull it up, and go on the other side.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Alone, huh?
Alone. So 5 of these, 5 I did successfully. The last one was the starboard aft.
Okay.
I went down, I read the draft, and I cramped. I couldn't come up.
Why?
I don't know, maybe tired, lack of sleep,
yeah.
or doing 4 of those drafts. I just cramped, and I was sitting there on the coolie ladder.
Yeah.
The shore was hardly 30 meters away, not more than that.
Okay.
And the entire crew had cast off and gone in for chai. Yeah, because vessel we had to cast off already. So the thoughts in my mind were: should I stay here? Should I jump and make it
To the land.
to the coast, or what should I do?
Shit.
Yeah, but also we knew that the currents there are very, very strong.
Crazy,
We had
isn't it?
seen dead bodies, animals, all kind of things floating in the Hooghly, and heard stories also. So good sense prevailed. I really did not do anything. I just stayed there. Incidentally, I also had a walkie-talkie around my neck. But I was so scared, I could not even get my hand to go and press that button and call for help. So I just stayed there. Yeah. I think 10 minutes would have passed, and then the crew came back. Normally, after stations, there's a 10-minute chai break. So they came back from the chai, and then they pulled me up. They pulled up the entire ladder. And then I was like lying there for 10 minutes, hyperventilating, and then after some time, I got my breath back. Yeah, so in those 10 minutes, I don't know why I mentioned this, but yeah, I think I could see in those 10 minutes my entire life had actually flashed past me. Yeah. Yeah, and of course there have been piracy incidents, there have been other accidents. Yeah, but this is something which I can't get out of my head.
Any accidents or incidents when you were master, when you're commanding the ship, that actually helped you learn a different perspective towards crew or towards the shipping journey?
Yeah, it did. I was a mate. I had given a grinding job to my cadet.
Okay.
I won't take the name of the cadet out of the company.
Yeah.
Very hardworking guy. I was almost a mate from on the 3rd or 4th ship. I think the task was to cut an FRP grating. Yeah. And like I said earlier, safety was a byword. And I'm not saying that even when this happened, safety was a byword. But this guy, in order to gain efficiency and save time, took the guard off of the grinder. And when he took the guard off and he was grinding, and we've all done grinding in our careers, I think there was some misalignment, and that the grinding wheel exploded and hit him on his eye.
Middle of the sea.
Middle of the sea. Luckily, we were a few hours off Sri Lanka. We diverted the vessel. We went to Gale, and he was airlifted. Yeah, so that was the end of his career at sea.
Sure.
Which was very sad for me. It took me, for a few days I couldn't sleep on board. After he signed off, I and the other cadets who packed his bags and sent it home. So yeah, incidents like this happen. But I think it just reinforces our belief in safety. And I think, unless you've seen an accident, you think that all those checklists, doing them repeatedly is a waste of time.
I'll tell you a very interesting incident which happened to me, not exactly to me, but it happened in front of my eyes in Goa port. So I brought one vessel at I don't want to name the company. It's a very big company in India. But yeah, we berthed alongside. It was a Panamax. So the gangway was pretty long, and it takes time to rig the gangway.
Of course. MOT, no.
No, it's like proper gangway.
Proper gangway, yeah.
MOT for tankers, you have MOT, you lift
Yeah,
and you put it.
yeah.
It's not that. It's like on the side, you just pull it out, and then overside you put it on the jetty. So I berthed the ship, and I was going down. So I was standing on the top platform to see how the gangway is going down, and there's a winch. So this guy is lowering the gangway to the jetty. And just looking at it, I saw the wire broke and the gangway became perpendicular.
Yeah. And you were to go on the gangway.
You
were going to disembark from there.
Yeah, I was almost there.
Yeah.
And that gave me so much of trauma today also. When the crew puts the gangway down, and if either I'm boarding or disembarking, if I see the wire running or, the gangway up and down, or somebody is pulling the gangway, I said, just leave it. Because you don't know, because that time what I saw was the gangway, he was, winching it down.
Yeah.
Lowering the gangway, and the wire broke and the gangway became perpendicular.
Just perpendicular.
And the captain is like, pilot saab, kuch kar do saab. I said, this happened in front of everyone's eyes, man. This is very unsafe. No, we are just coming from dry dock. I said, then you better check,
all the more reason to change your dry dock
class
next
and
time.
all. Yeah, I mean, this could have been me.
Yeah, could have been anyone.
Could have been anyone. Could have been the crew also,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it changed my perception towards safety. Yeah, because people, they stand on the gangway and they say, oh, lower. I never do that. I make sure that the gangway is down, then only I go.
Yeah. No, you're right.
So this is, as a pilot, it's very critical, we cannot take it for granted.
Absolutely. You do, how many boardings do you do in a day?
Tremendous. Like every day, this is what we do.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, as a master, tell us about, for the masters who are still sailing, there's a ship owner.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's a charter.
Right.
And there's the superintendent.
Right.
So how did you manage to make the balance of all of them? Were you pressurized from the charter? Okay, you have to do this. Any of those incidents, if you remember.
Okay, so I'll tell you, and perhaps I was a bit lucky or shielded, but I never had too many of those incidents. And part of it could be from the fact that I worked on the gas fleet.
Oh, yeah.
Which is very well regulated.
Very new.
Yeah, very new. We, at least back then, it was only the big names, well managed, and safety was paramount. So I never had any of those pressures. In fact, wherever we were, we always had good support from our charterers and everyone else who was in the value chain.
Okay.
Yeah.
When we sail, so we have a deck department and engine department.
Yeah.
And there are always clashes between engine and deck. So how did you manage that? Or you had any incidents where there was clash between or maybe the argument with engineers on some part?
I think a book can be written about it.
Correct.
In terms of what happens on board between deck and engine. But again, I would say I think I was a bit fortunate, and perhaps it's also my nature to be friendly with everyone. So I never had major issues there. I would not say that it did not happen. Yeah, but I think the point here, Rajat, is that it's not that the people from different planets. It's just that they've been conditioned in a different manner.
Different way, true.
So therefore, there are some differences which do arise. But I firmly believe that if the captain and the chief engineer, they send the right signal down and they put the good culture in their team, then these things don't happen.
I had an incident. So I was sailing with a company, of course, I don't want to name.
Of course.
The young master and very old second engineer. They sailed on one ship or two ships before this guy became the master. Okay. So now they are on the ship where I am also there. And so captain, he became captain, right? And he's young.
So
And
there
this
was
guy
a
is
change
old.
in the power dynamics.
Change in the power. This second engineer always used to talk to him, addressing with his name instead of sir, instead of captain, this and that.
Right.
And he used to feel so bad that his friendship,
Yeah.
I mean, ego came in between their friendship, and then they had lot of fight on board.
That's a good point you made. In fact, I should have said that as well, because I think any differences which arise, the root cause is ego, and it's nothing beyond that.
True. Okay, Captain, so let's get to the next segment. C to strategy, charting new courses ashore. Okay. At what point did you decide to pursue an MBA, and how you choose which format or program was right for you?
I'll tell you, I think the seeds for an MBA were sown even before I stepped onto my first vessel.
Okay. Interesting.
When I was about to go to Bombay to join my first vessel, my mother asked me for one thing. She said, "Now that you're joining C, you're only finished your grade 12." And back then, now the world is different. Back then, if you were a 10 plus 2, the people would frown upon you. So she said, "My son has to be a graduate." And she took a promise from me that you would definitely finish your graduation. And I did that. I think I sailed, my first tour at sea was 18 or 19 months. I came back and I enrolled in Delhi University by a distance program. I did my BCom. Instead of 1 year, instead of 3 years, I took 4 years to do that. And I think that kind of then paved the path for me to go ahead and, pursue further education. And also, I must mention this. When I was a captain for 3 to 4 years, I realized that I've hit a plateau. And the option, you were at a fork in the road. Either you could keep doing that for the rest of your life, or say, "I'm going to do something different." And when I was a mate in Anglo-Eastern, Captain Rajiv Kumar, a lot of respect for him, he told me, "Gurpreet," he taught me two things. Firstly, never be afraid to take a decision. Yeah? He says half the things are not done because people don't take decisions. The second thing he told me is that if you have to quit C, quit within 3 years of being a master.
Okay.
Otherwise, you will get so used to what you do that it's going to be very difficult.
True.
So with, I think, all these 2-3 things put together.
So sorry to interrupt. There are two learnings here. One is, no matter what, take the decision.
Yeah.
And take the decision well in time.
Yeah. In terms of where, if you want to move away from a career at sea. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. And retire within 3 years of becoming master.
Yeah, because I think we've all been at sea, and we've all been masters. I think your learning curve, and today's 3 years at sea means 6 or 7 vessels.
Yeah.
You've pretty much seen it all. Yeah.
Yeah.
The kind of challenges in seamanship and all which we had back then, I think they're all been taken away by technology and communication. So, yeah. So I think by the time you've been a master on 6 or 7 vessels, probably you're at 97, 98 percentile of what you can learn. Yeah. So if you want to do something different, I think that's about the time when you should move away.
Interesting. So, okay, how did you decide which MBA you wanted to do?
Okay, like most of us, and I say this because I spoke to many people, I had two options. One option was to go and do an MBA which specializes in maritime studies, or the other one was to take the plunge and do something which was much wider. I was inclined to go towards maritime because it was the proven path.
And you had the experience as well.
Yeah, it was the easier path. There was no competitive exams to sit for. And it was convenient, yeah. But I've always relied on talking to my seniors and mentors, taking advice from them and listening to people. My takeaway from all my conversations was that whether I do a shipping related MBA or not, the kind of a role I will have after my time at sea would be about the same. Maybe post MBA, maybe I'll be slightly better off. I could be the same. Perhaps I I may be better off, but I may not. I may be less happy because my expectations in life would have changed after doing an MBA. So I took the plunge, and I then said, let me not limit myself to a simple Maritime MBA. So I took the GMAT, got a relatively good score, and I applied to schools in Europe and in US.
Why not India?
Okay. Today, with ISB and a few other schools, there are Indian business programs, business schools, which also offer good courses for people with experience.
Okay.
In mid 2000s, majority of the Indian business schools had, and if I may say, use the word kids who were 21, 22 years old.
Makes sense.
And in an MBA, and I'm sure you've heard this, your learning is as much as from your cohort as it's from the academics. So it's very important to be with people, your peers, from whom you can learn and who are at, I would not say similar, but not so far apart in terms of their professional careers.
And the age.
And the age as well.
Yeah.
So therefore, I looked at US and Europe, and one reason I wasn't very keen on US was the same. Even in US, the average entry age of a MBA student was much lower. In Europe, the average age was about 30, 32.
Okay.
Or maybe 28. Much higher than what it was over there.
Yeah.
So I like that part.
Yeah.
Also with HEC, I also liked the duration of the program. The duration was 16 months, whereas majority of the MBAs are either 10 months or 2 years.
So it's midway.
It's midway, which worked very well for me in the sense that I thought after my class 12, I've never sat in a classroom. So 10 months will just vanish, you won't even know. Before you get used to what being in school is and what college is and an MBA is, 10 months will be gone. And then you're moving to a new country and all of that. And it takes you a while to get used to it. Also, having a family, responsibilities, you also somewhere at the back of your mind are like, I'm spending so much money. The earlier I get back into the job market, the better it is.
True.
So for me, 16 months was that, kind of that sweet spot, which kind of made a lot of sense.
Also, there's one question, like you talked about GMAT, right? So what score should anybody be targeting as a mariner with 10 years of experience that he should get a good B school?
I'll tell you. I don't know what the I think the scoring pattern might have changed.
Okay.
I was, I think, in the 92nd percentile. I think if you're 85 percentile and above, you have a fairly good chance.
Okay.
Because the GMAT is perhaps 20% of your application.
Oh, just 20%.
Just 20%.
Oh, interesting.
Just 20%. And I think the purpose of the GMAT is to ascertain whether you know enough math and numbers to get through accounting and business courses.
Interesting.
And would you be able to comprehend business English and make sense out of it or not?
Interesting.
Yeah. So if you can do that, and I think at 85 percentile, you pretty much anyone can. So yeah, for me, I think that's where the line will be.
Okay, so how did the MBA experience transform you? Any particular course, project, or mindset shift that stood out? How did the MBA transform your approach to life?
Okay. Today, it's easy for me to say what I gained in the MBA, but when I was in the MBA, I did not even realize what I was gaining. I think I was just so engrossed in the experience of being in a new country, meeting so many new people, attending such interesting classes. Uh, but the benefits of the MBA became apparent to me on day one of my first job.
Interesting.
On day one. And in the first year of my first role after my business school, and I was lucky, I was straight away appointed as CEO of Louis Dreyfus's joint venture in India. All the concepts which I'd learned in business school, I had the opportunity to apply them.
Wow. Very interesting.
Yeah, because sometimes you're in business school, right? And we've all been to college. अरे वो HR छोड़ दो यार, ये छोड़ दो यार. OB क्या होता है, organization behavior छोड़ दो. But when you actually get into the workplace, you realize that all these concepts
Makes sense.
make sense. Make sense. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
In fact, we just posted a reel today where Sir Sohan Roy was talking about the education system that we have been using for all the time, for centuries. That we go to school, we study, which is not gonna help us
Yeah.
with the purpose in life.
Absolutely.
So his point is like we waste 50,000 hours just to study math, science, or whatever.
Yeah.
Why not have a course where your talent, your passion defines your purpose in life?
Yeah. So on that, I've never quantified it, but since you're on the topic, I'll quantify it. I think 10% of my learning was in my school. I mean, from grade 1 to grade 12. And 90% of my learning after that has been through my life at sea, my travel, and then subsequently whatever I did. So that's the ratio for me.
Yeah, that's very interesting. In fact, recently I was watching one video, a short. They created a school where you study for 4 years, but you don't generally study. Every year you go to a different country and you start a business with your cohort.
Amazing. I wish I could do that.
I'm like, very interesting, yeah, very interesting. In fact, they've got some affiliation with good schools as well. So the new concept, maybe it will, change the entire education system. But let's see. Next question is gonna be very interesting, and I'm sure you would love to answer that. With AI and short form learning growing rapidly, do you think the traditional MBA is at risk of becoming obsolete?
Well, in short, I say no, it isn't. Because we must understand, I don't think AI is going to replace anyone. At the end of the day, AI is a tool which enables you to do more. I think similarly to how other businesses are adapting, I think the MBA will also adapt to life with AI. My sense is that there would be courses in your business curriculum which will enable you to use AI more proficiently and make you more productive.
So you're saying that MBA won't be replaced by AI anyways? So.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. I think what an MBA in the post AI world, and when I say post AI, when the adoption is more than 65%, your MBAs will actually tell you how to be cutting edge at AI. So today,
how to use AI to make your business more efficient? Could be.
See, what does an MBA do? An MBA gives you the framework to analyze various aspects of business and then come to a decision point. Today, in the absence of AI, you are probably using 80% of your brain and 20% of the computer's brain. And these are just numbers I'm saying, yeah. In times to come, it could reverse. Which means 80% of the work would be done by a machine and 20% will be done by human. Which means the same human would now be able to process 4 times the data.
Oh, yeah.
So you would in fact increase your own
Efficiency.
productivity.
Productivity, efficiency. Interesting fact.
That's my take.
Very interesting. No, but you're right. Like, if you...
Disclaimer, I've never used ChatGPT. My son has been telling me that it's the best $20 you can spend every month.
True. Okay, very interesting question. In fact, this question has been haunting me for a while. Two things, in fact. This is related to MBA again. One is what's your take on the distance learning MBAs versus full-time MBAs?
Right.
And second thing is, if somebody is 40 years old, should he opt for MBA?
Okay, both are interesting.
Yeah.
And both are close to my heart.
Okay.
Which one do you want me to speak about
Let's
first?
start with the distance learning versus full-time.
Okay, I personally am not a believer of distance learning.
Okay.
Yeah. For me, the experience and the experiential learning, is very important. Sitting in isolation or on a computer screen,
Watching the videos.
yeah, I think you miss the human flavor, the context, and those relationships, the networks, and the camaraderie which you build on campus. Like next day morning, 6 a.m. is a submission, yeah, and all of you've been out partying till 2 a.m. and then you sit down and
Finish it off.
you're all, and that's where you all pitch in and you deliver, yeah. So I think that brings out qualities of teamwork, leadership, cooperation, which are very important in the workplace. So I'm not a believer of distance learning at all. In fact, even now I'm thinking of going and doing some more courses, various like certifications here and there. I haven't, but I will. But I would definitely look for a full time, even if it's a 3-day, 5-day program.
I was having a podcast of Captain Papu Sastry. He also mentioned a very important thing, that MBA should have an expiry date. Because the world is changing so fast,
Actually, he's right. He's absolutely right. I fully agree. And another thing which I learned, concept, from my uncle, is that every 6 to 8 years, you need to reinvent yourself. And in today's world, if you don't reinvent yourself every 6 to 8 years, you will become irrelevant.
Oh, okay. Every 6 to 8 years, you have to
Reinvent yourself.
reinvent yourself.
Because what you know, the world would have moved ahead.
And how do you reinvent yourself?
You go out, you get new skills, you learn something else, you put yourself out of the comfort zone.
Like I'm doing with podcasts.
Like you're doing with me today.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. Like what you've done here, it's fantastic.
Okay, the next question. If somebody is in his 40s, should he be thinking of MBA or should he just quit?
I think he should not quit. Even 15 years ago, when I did my MBA, I would have said you should do it. But today, definitely you should do it, because the average expectancy has increased. Medical science is doing so many things.
Yeah.
So I think the productive lifespan of each human being is going to increase. But that aside, when I started my MBA, I was 34. My oldest classmate was 38. And I think both of us benefited as much and perhaps more than younger batchmates, because we had more real life experiences to correlate with what we were being taught in school. And like I said, if you have to reinvent yourself every 6 to 8 years, so what's the harm if you take a year or 2 years to reinvent yourself, to reboot?
Reinvent yourself. That's very interesting. Once you graduated, how did you land your first job post MBA?
In fact, when I was doing my MBA, I happened to intern with Louis Dreyfus. Yeah. And I was introduced to them by one of the gentlemen I had met when I was sailing. Yeah. I was the master on a gas tanker which was to be put up as a storage facility in Vietnam. Very challenging project. The head charterer was BW Gas. So when I was at business school, I called that gentleman, Patrick, and he just mentioned to me, Gurpreet, you're Indian, you're a master mariner. I know this French shipping company. You should go and meet them. And you're in a great school in France, and probably there's something to be done there. So yeah, I met them. I went to the Louis Dreyfus office. I remember I was sitting with this gentleman, and his phone rang. And that's when I got the sign that I need to work here.
Oh.
And I'll tell you why. Because when his phone rang, it wasn't the ringtone we are used to. It was the ship's horn.
Wow.
Yeah, so, like after 15, 18 years, you're in a new country, you go to an office and you say, oh, these guys, they talk my language. And suddenly you have this affinity.
So you did MBA from France and then you went to Indonesia? Or?
No. So I worked with Louis Dreyfus in France.
France only. Okay.
And then Louis Dreyfus was entering India with a joint venture.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was heading that joint venture for 10 years.
So it kind of helped you because you were in France.
I was in France.
And you were working with a French company.
Yeah.
And they wanted to have one subsidiary in India, I would say.
Correct.
Okay, interesting.
Correct.
So basically, the story, the conclusion of the story is do what you feel like.
Absolutely.
Don't get trapped because of money, because of other stuff, because you wanted to do MBA to upgrade yourself, right?
Yeah. It's, I will not take that simple an approach because as we grow older, we have responsibilities. And with each passing day, you'll have a wife, you'll have kids, you'll have their education. So responsibilities also increase.
True.
So plan it, and and I think there's always a way out.
Okay, let's get to your executive life.
Mm-hmm.
You worked closely on joint ventures, many of which fail.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think joint ventures in the maritime industry often don't survive?
Okay, so I would not speak specifically about the maritime industry, but I'll speak about joint ventures and give you my views.
Yeah.
In fact, even when I was in business school, we had this whole course on JVs, yeah. And the statistic is 70% or more of the JVs actually fail.
What exactly is JV? Could you please give the audience?
Sure. Okay, the full form is a joint venture. Yeah. A joint venture is essentially is a new company which is set up by two different entities. Yeah.
Two different companies
who come
together.
Not
the individuals.
It could be individuals also. So it's the question of being a sole proprietor or a company.
Okay.
Yeah. So if there are two proprietors, they will then have a joint venture, but they will call it a partnership.
Yes, yeah? Exactly.
But when two companies come together, they will call it a joint venture. Joint ventures work, and let me tell you this. In India there's a saying कि जब शादी होती है 19-20 में होनी चाहिए. And I think there's a lot of logic and sense in that. Similarly, in joint ventures also, my view and my belief is that if the two partners in the joint venture are 19-20, the chances of success are going to be much higher. Because in the first 2-3 years, it's like your honeymoon period. Everything is hunky-dory and rosy. But then, over a period of time, perspectives change. And the importance of each decision or the quantum of the decision is different for each shareholder. If you allow me, I'll give you an example.
Please.
Let's say tomorrow morning, Mr. Bill Gates has to take a decision worth $10 million. It'll probably be the last thing on his agenda. But let's say there's a shopkeeper in Dubai or in India who has to take a decision for $10 million. So it's something which he's going to think about for a year before he decides. Yeah. So that's what I mean, that if the quantum or that 19-20 ka rishta nahi hoga. So, and then what happens? the importance they attach will be different. And that's when egos come in. This guy will say, अरे मैं तो 1 साल से बैठा हुआ था ये लेके. बिल गेट्स तो बोलेगा यार ठीक है यार जो है सो है मुझे कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता.
Correct. So you're saying that joint ventures only become successful when the
I
two
will not-
entities are
I will not say only, but I'm saying that
probability is more.
probability of success, which is average is 30, if you are a joint venture of equals, you've increased your probability perhaps from 30 to 60 or 70.
Okay, you were with Mercator in their high tide and low tide. So what went wrong that they couldn't survive the tides?
Okay, I would rather not comment. You want my you want my comments?
No, since you're an MBA and from the shipping background, I think let's take it as a case study.
Okay, I'll give you a dispassionate, objective view from a distance. I actually joined them pretty late in their entire graph, in their life spectrum. And when I joined them, the company was already facing headwinds and was on the downturn. When I joined them in 2018, the intention was very clear to try and salvage and resuscitate whatever we could of the 5 or 6 businesses we had. Yeah. And we worked.
So what were the businesses of Mercator? One is ships.
Back then we had shipping, we had dredging, we had oil and gas, we had coal, and we also had a small EPC arm. Yeah, so there were 5 businesses which Mercator was in 2018.
Okay.
Yeah. So now, I think let's put Mercator aside. I think I will speak in general because a lot of companies which go through growth have the similar challenges. And in my opinion, growth is great, but growth is also very challenging. And growth is also very difficult to manage. Because when you're growing, caution is often thrown to the wind. Because growth is like, if I may say, a drug in itself. Yeah, your company is growing every day and you're like, oh yeah. So you got to be careful.
True.
Secondly, especially in India, between mid 90s to early 2000s, I think money became available too easily. And when I say money became easily, I mean essentially by the lenders. And even otherwise, by the lenders, by the investors, the whole world was looking at India. And when you have private investors, private equity chasing a few good assets, then a lot of money becomes available. And I think that combination, if not managed well, can often have results which are not good. Fiscal prudence is put to the back seat. All the focus goes on growth. So I think these are 2 or 3 factors. I think also diversification into too many fields which you don't understand well is also not
Yep.
I mean, it's good, but do it at a slow and measured pace, at a controlled rate.
So it's like too soon, too much diversion is
Yeah.
a killer.
Yeah, what we studied in physics, nuclear controlled fission and uncontrolled. Yeah, as long as it's controlled, I think it's fine.
So how did your transition to GMS happen? Because you were with Mercator and
You have all the right questions. So I'll tell you. When I was at Mercator, we were selling a lot of our assets. And we were also in discussions with GMS. Because GMS, if you might be aware, is one of the largest buyers of all old maritime assets. And that's how I met Dr. Sharma with Shalabh. And when Mercator was ultimately shut down, Shalabh was very kind and he tried to find roles for all his employees. And in fact, he introduced me to Dr. Sharma. And Dr. Sharma at that point wanted to expand his company, bring in kind of a, what should I say, a structured professional approach to his operations, and that's how I joined them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And what were you looking for in GMS when you joined?
What was I looking for? I mean, what were my expectations?
Yeah, what were your expectations from GMS in terms of learning, in terms of growth?
Okay.
Or was it just like a survival?
No,
stunt for you?
it wasn't survival. It was a well thought out decision for me to move away from India. And in fact, let me not say India, to move away from the port sector. So, 10 to 12 years of my life were in the port sector. I think I was lucky that I could be in Mumbai and run a port company. Usually, if you're running a port company, all the ports in today's day and age are far away from the metros. They're in small, way out places.
True. Remote places.
Yeah, like Mundra, Dhamra, Gangavaram, yeah. And I had opportunities to be within the port sector, but I did not want to move away from Bombay for various reasons, having spent so much time there, having a young family, my son growing up. So then I made a conscious decision that if it's not going to be ports, then the only industry where I have legs is shipping, yeah, and Dubai was a good option, yeah. In fact, my wife told me that if I leave Bombay, Dubai is the only country I'm going to go to. It's the only city I'll go to. So when I said Dubai, she said, "Okay, we'll go."
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's how GMS happened. I was with them for a short period, but very interesting. I did some very good projects there. Learned a lot.
Okay. Would you like to talk about a couple of projects that interested you?
Yeah. So I, due to COVID, was stuck in India, and at that point, GMS was looking to acquire the Reliance Naval Shipyard in Pipavav.
Okay.
So I worked on that project. We were a consortium of 4 companies, Indian and international. It was a brilliant idea. The idea was to use the shipyard to recycle old vessels.
Okay.
Because now globally, the whole idea of beaching vessels and cutting on the sea is being done away with. There's a lot of resistance from environmental groups.
True.
So the idea was to take those existing facilities and, of course, use it as a shipyard, but also use it for recycling. And if that had happened, a large majority of the world fleet would have been diverted for recycling to that facility.
Wow.
Because such facilities are far and few.
Okay.
Yeah. So we did our diligence, huge project. It was actually it was in the insolvency court. Yeah. So we had to go through the entire process. There was IRP, the resolution professional and all of that. We placed our bids, but unfortunately we were not successful.
Okay.
In the
Someone
sense,
else would have.
someone else outbid us. Because we analyzed it and we knew what our capabilities are and what's the cash flow we could have derived from it. But very good. I mean,
But whoever has won the bid, they are still doing something? Is this?
yeah. In fact, it's in public domain. The group which runs Swan Energy, they were successful. Yeah, so they are. I think they're building vessels. They're doing repairs.
Okay.
And I don't think they've started recycling yet.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
Yeah, they haven't started recycling yet, but they will.
So it has become like a shipyard at the moment.
It was always a shipyard.
Always shipyard.
Yeah. See, with GMS, our key skill, or I would say our differentiator, was that we were at that point, and even today, I think the number one buyer of old tonnage. So we had this access to large amount of old steel which had to be cut. So it was a natural progression for us to go ahead and develop this facility.
Interesting. Okay, since you are an MBA and I'm sure you must have been hearing SCI is going to be privatized. I've been hearing this since my cadetship back in 2003.
Really?
Still, it has not happened, and every time I hear, "Oh, SCI is going to be privatized." So, what is stopping SCI to be privatized? What do you think?
Uh, okay, I have some knowledge on the subject because incidentally, when SCI was being privatized in 2021, when the government was giving it a big push, at that point again I was with GMS, and GMS and a consortium of 3 or 4 companies was shortlisted as one of the bidders. So we looked at it very, very closely. And here, what I want to say is that this is not just for shipping. In any business, any investor who comes in will definitely want to come in and buy at the fair value or at a discount, and would want to get assets, not any liabilities. Now, I don't know if the Indian government is going to kill me for this or not, but the way the SCI deal was structured, all the assets were taken away and the liabilities remained. Yeah.
Like how?
So I'll tell you. Today, if I'm running a vessel and I'm an international ship owner, I have the flexibility to flag it anywhere in the world.
Yes.
Yeah. And we all know how prevalent FOCs are, flags of convenience, and for an obvious reason. Anytime you are flying the national flag, there are costs, there are roadblocks, there are hindrances which slow you down. So that was one point. Anyone who takes over SCI did not have the flexibility to reflag the vessels anywhere. Then, like most PSUs, SCI also has a bloated and inefficient workforce. And these were also going to be saddled on the new investor, on the purchaser. And there was a time frame in which none of them could be laid out. Yeah. So, and 2 more things. Then the government's expectation was to get a premium on the asset value.
Okay.
Matlab, they wanted to sell $1 at $1.20. But any investor would forget the liabilities. With the liabilities, I think we would have been happy paying 30 to 40 cents to the dollar. And so was every other investor. Then SCI, also like all other PSUs, had large land banks.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You know the MTI,
MTI,
in Powai.
Crazy location, yeah.
I think that asset by itself was, let me not take a number, but huge value.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's the other thing. So they've kind of spun off the entire real estate of SCI in a different subsidiary, and that's not going to form part of the sale.
Deal.
Yeah.
The hell.
Yeah. So the situation now is all the assets have been taken away.
They have taken all the
Assets,
fruits and gave you all the seeds.
आम खा लिए गुठली छोड़ दी. जो liabilities हैं वो बच गई हैं.
Correct.
तो आई थिंक जितना टाइम लगा था एयर इंडिया के लिए उतना ही टाइम लगेगा और वैसा ही कोई नाइट इन शाइनिंग आर्मर आएगा.
My God. Okay. You have worked across both technical and commercial verticals of shipping. What's one misunderstanding you've noticed between the two sides of shipping companies?
Yeah. So I've led both verticals. Like I said earlier, when we were talking about deck and engine, I don't think there's a misunderstanding. I think it's the conditioning. And let me explain that. So when you're an engineer, you seldom think about the cost. For example, I give you a problem. This is my engine, this is not working, I need to solve it. As an engineer, your endeavor is to find the best solution for it. You'll say, yeah, gold plated, blah, blah, blah. It'll never break down for the rest of its life. And there's nothing wrong with that decision. It's just that it doesn't make commercial sense. So I can't blame the engineer for saying what he's saying, because whatever he's been taught, whatever he has learned, he's applying that. That when I do a job, I do it well and it should not break down. But then comes the commercial side of it. The commercial side is that I don't know what's happening in the world. अगर मेरा ₹1 लगा हुआ तो मेरे को कुछ बनना चाहिए उसमें. So it's how companies, individuals, or enterprises manage the both together and cohabit. I think that it's as simple as that. Therefore, we find today more and more engineers are going for business courses, and and even for me, I mean, I think to be a business leader, if you're an engineer, I think at least one part of your brain, the logic part, is set. And then I think your chances of succeeding are higher. Though I'm not an engineer, but I just think in that fashion.
Yeah, like left brain, right brain.
Yeah, whatever. I will not go there. I don't know that at all.
Correct. India is a global seafaring hub. But are we future ready? What are the gaps in training, talent, or mindset that you think should be taken care of?
Okay, I don't think we're future ready. And not just us. I think the seafaring community is not future ready. And the reason for that is that a ship owner has, in today's world, has become so cost conscious that he does not want to invest. It's not that he does not want to, the commercial pressures do not allow him to invest heavily in crew. But I can tell you, having a good set of crew can be the biggest differentiator for a vessel being run well or not being run well.
Yeah, in fact, so there's this Captain Jadhav. He is a crewing head of one Western India Limited company. It's a
Shipyard,
Singapore. No, it's not WSL. Western Shipping Company. Sorry, it's not Western India. So he said the new recruitment is retention. Retention is the new recruitment. So if you manage to retain your crew, figure out ways of retaining crew. Maybe give them better, salary is one part of it, but then give them more value in the company. Maybe have more relationship with
He's absolutely right. I fully agree with him. And I think he's also right in saying salary may be 60% of the motivator. And salary may be the motivator to get someone in. But to retain, I don't think the motivator is salary. The motivators have changed.
Correct.
The motivators have changed.
Okay, looking ahead, what tech startup or innovation ideas that you think are going to be the part of future maritime industry, and what are the things that you are most excited about?
Okay, I'll be honest. I'm not excited about anything in technology and all of that, because I think perhaps it's to do with how we've been brought up in the maritime industry. Rules have always been thrust upon us, and we do the bare minimum. Yeah, SOLAS tells you to do X, Y, Z, we do X, Y, Z. And then IMO says this, we do this, and people come and check, this is your deficiencies. Seldom you go beyond that. And even if you go beyond that, there is some commercial reason. Someone wants you to, and yeah. So I really don't know what. I'm not excited about any of that, but I do see a future which is different from where we are today. If you look at automotives, we're talking about self-driving cars. If you look at aeronautics, we have drones, people-less planes and all of that. So I think that day is not far when we may have ocean-going vessels which are without people.
Autonomous ships.
Autonomous, yeah. And I think the other thing which everyone is talking about is cleaner and greener fuels. Another thing, well, actually, there is one thing which excites me. It's, I think, the return to wind power for vessels.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and in fact, Louis Dreyfus is a pioneer in that. I think they have a prototype.
Who was that?
Louis Dreyfus, the company I used to work for.
Okay.
I think they have a prototype with a company.
A lot of companies who are doing.
I think it's a company called Blue Ship. I'm not certain of the name.
Yeah,
but I think that really excites me.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, that excites me.
It will save a lot of fuel, whatever, green or whatever. Possible.
Yeah, and also I think at heart all sailors are romantics, to an extent. So that image of a big sail, and
on
turning
the ship,
that just kind of excites me.
Correct. Okay, so you mentored many young professionals. What do you tell cadets or juniors about career planning in a rapidly evolving world today?
Actually, I haven't mentored too many, but I would love to. I think whatever I've learned, I'll be happy to share it. But wherever I've had the opportunity, I think it's not very different from what we discussed. So your school is the entire world. Yeah. So do not be fixated on what you learn in the classroom. Whatever new experience you have, embrace it. Because you don't know when and where it's going to come back and help you. And be curious and always question. Yeah.
And have the right mentors.
Of course. Of course.
Very important.
Of course.
Okay, what qualities do you look for in someone you would bet, or whether to bringing him in your team of leadership?
So, of course, I think it'll be foolish to say that intelligence and IQ is not required. I think it's required. But perhaps it's overrated. Like I told you,
Mike.
the significance of a GMAT is just to see whether you have
Basic understanding.
basic understanding. I think as long as you have an individual who is relatively average IQ, I think that's enough. I think beyond that, it's their mindset and their attitude, which will differentiate the achievers from the non-achievers. So yeah, so when I interview, and I like to work with young people, I would always see their attitude to a problem. Are they the ones who are going to put their neck out and say, I can solve this? Or are they the ones saying, ठीक अब क्या करें?
Start complaining.
Yeah, वही ना, मतलब क्या हम क्या कर सकते हैं?
Correct. Okay, what are you currently working or dreaming of, or is there any personal goal or venture that we should keep an eye on?
No personal ventures. Yeah, goals, of course. I have goals. I have 5-year, 10-year, 15-year goals. I've had them from.
So you write them down?
I write them down. In fact, now I write them down less often. But when I was out at sea, you remember we used to have those parches on the bridge?
Correct.
Scrap paper काट के हाँ वो clip लगा के रखते थे. Almost in every 4 to 8 watch, I used to make a note to myself.
Oh, very
Yeah, that this year I'm going to do my MBA, and this year I'm going to do this, and this year I'm going to be a show, or I'm going to do this. Yeah, so I had that planning. Now I don't go in that much detail, and I think my route forward is quite well charted. I think I'm a professional. I'll continue doing whatever I do to the best of my ability, and I think I've been extremely lucky. A friend of mine introduced me to Alok. Alok is the chairman and promoter of Alphard, where I currently work.
We should definitely talk about your present company.
Yeah.
Alphard. So what do you guys do?
It's an amazing company. It's a mind-boggling company.
Wow.
So Alok is a fellow colleague, a fellow seafarer. In fact, he was also at Anglo Eastern. He was also in the gas fleet. I never knew him back then. Yeah, I have not even heard of him. Even he had not heard of me. And when I left GMS, a friend introduced me to him, and we started chatting. And then he was an entrepreneur for 15, 16 years, and he's been very successful. So he had certain ideas, and he said, "Okay, why don't you come join me?" And yeah, it's been 3 years now, and I would say that we are a very different kind of a maritime company.
Like how?
In very simple terms, and perhaps I may even be wrong in saying that, I would say that we are a maritime focused hedge fund. Yeah, we would look at any opportunity in the maritime sector. I mean, we are agnostic to what asset we buy. We have high risk taking capacity. If we understand it, we do it. So
for example, like what exactly is Alphard USP?
Okay, so our USP is quite simple. Buy low, sell high.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're always in the market to look for assets which, for whatever reason, are available at a discount.
Discounted price.
Of course, there's a risk attached with it. So our ability is to understand, mitigate, and manage the risk.
Interesting.
And once we do that, then the assets move to market value, and in certain cases, even more than the market value. Yeah. So that's how I would describe ourselves. But the Alfred company has a history itself. In fact, you should talk to Alok. He's such an interesting guy, and what he's achieved in life is
Interesting.
I mean, we left sailing the same year. Okay, he started a business. I went to school. Yeah. Today, look at the entire business empire he has created. Hats off to him.
Okay. Okay, so the final piece of advice to young mariners, masters, mates, and engineers from your side.
I think I've said it earlier, but I can repeat it, and I don't think it's limited to people at sea. But since the audience is more people from our community, I would say whatever comes your way, take it as an opportunity and see the positive in it. And let me give you an example. My nephew is a cadet. Yeah, he was on a ship in Mexico which got arrested, and they had to spend 2 days on the jetty.
On the jetty?
On the jetty.
My God.
Because the armed forces came, they put all the crew on the jetty and all of that, and they rummaged the vessel and all that. So my brother-in-law and Bhabhi, they got worried and they called me, and I said, yeah, that's fine. But I told them there's a positive to it. He's one in a million who will have the opportunity to experience this.
True.
So let him embrace that with both hands and learn whatever he can. And by virtue of this experience, he is going to be a stronger and a better officer and individual and human being.
Take every opportunity as
Absolutely.
every
Absolutely.
incident as an opportunity
Absolutely.
to learn.
See, where there is adversity is an opportunity.
Correct. Interesting. Okay, so do you want to talk about the fields that you discussed, dredging, oil and gas? This is a very important question. You see, dredging has become so much part of every country's global economy or global trade. So, what do you think about future of dredging? How it's going to shape up?
Okay. So, dredging has two sides to it. Yeah. Actually, probably more than two sides. In the very basic meaning of the word, dredging means going and digging the sea bottom to make it deeper.
Yeah.
But there's also the reverse of that, because at times you want to reclaim land, okay? Like is in the case of Palm Jumeirah.
Yes.
So the sand which is dredged from one part is then taken and dumped in the other region. That's called reclamation.
Yeah.
So both activities happen side by side. Then another activity where dredging is used is, I forget the word, but to avoid soil erosion, dredgers go and deposit the sand on the banks of the beaches and all, yeah?
Okay.
Yeah. So dredging is important, but I think the question here is, there's always a trade-off. And I'll tell you. A ship has a certain draft. It has reached, let's say, 30, 40, 50 miles offshore. Or let's say 10 miles, depending on how steep the continental shelf is and where you are in the world.
True.
Now the question is, how do you get this material or the goods from the vessel to the hinterland? There are two options. One option is to go into the sea, as in build a jetty. The other option is to dig the sea enough so the vessel comes in.
Right.
And I think that's where the trade-off is. You need to decide the cost of one over the other, how much is the volume which has to move, and in 5, 10, 15 years, because these are all long gestation periods,
Yes.
is it going to make sense or not? Uh, I don't know. I mean, like, we've all been to countries which have very deep water. There is no need for dredging. So they're naturally blessed, yeah?
Yeah.
But India has a shallow continental shelf. So wherever we've developed deep water ports, we've had to dredge. Yeah, and today India has huge. Adani dredging is huge. Also, like I said earlier, depending on the volume, because if it's one odd jetty, you can make a finger jetty and go out and make one. But if you want an entire port with 15, 20 terminals and doing 500 million tons a year, you definitely need to dredge and have the vessels come in.
Interesting. So let's say if somebody wants to start his own dredging company, what advice would you give? You're an MBA. Come on.
Advice number 1.
Okay. Don't think too much.
No.
Don't start.
Have bags of gold. No. So on a serious note, it's a capital intensive business. The vessels are very expensive. The manning levels are very high. Then, contrary to shipping, yeah, where you can run the ship anywhere, dredging is very project specific. So if you want to dredge, let's say Dubai wants to make a new island, they will pay anything for the dredger.
True.
But if Dubai decides we don't want a new island, that dredger has no value.
Very interesting.
Very risky. So therefore, you have to be you need to understand the market extremely well. You need to understand which is the market which is you're targeting, how sustainable is that revenue stream. Yeah, only then you invest.
So basically, you need to have a plan before you even think of.
Yeah, of course.
You don't just create a business model and go and take the money. You need to have the right plan too.
Absolutely.
Okay, dredging and oil and gas. I see a lot of offshore drilling is happening in India, and people are saying that it's going to be like the future of oil and gas, the offshore drilling. FPSOs, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I would not be able to comment on FPSOs in a lot of detail. But for India, I can tell you that definitely ONGC is going to drill a lot. Multiple reasons for that. Firstly, when you look at today the level of electrification in India, it's still a fraction of what it is in the other developed countries. So India needs to consume a lot more energy. Our per capita energy consumption is very low. I don't have the numbers, in fact, but it's there out there. Secondly, I think the government has this huge push to conserve foreign exchange to the extent possible. And India has reserves. India has known reserves. So I think the oil production activity on the Indian coast is going to be strong for the foreseeable future.
Interesting. Now it's quiz time.
Oh, quiz time. You're going to kill me.
No, it's going to be an easy one. Okay, so what is the busiest container port in the world by throughput?
By throughput?
I give you alternates. Shanghai, Singapore, Dubai.
Dubai.
Shanghai.
My bad.
Which tanker caused the world's worst oil spill?
Oh, I know that. Exxon Valdez.
Okay, who leads the global LNG fleet, since you are a gas guy? Yeah, I think you would know. MOL, Qatar Energy, Shell.
Qatar.
Perfect. What is the primary cargo on MR tanker?
Yeah.
Crude oil, refined products, chemicals.
Refined products.
Perfect. Okay. What leadership trait is crucial for a chief engineer? Technical expertise, empathy, risk taking.
Empathy.
For chief engineer?
Empathy. It's subjective question.
It's subjective
Yeah.
question.
Well, what's your view?
Technical expertise.
But that's not a leadership quality. I say
that is like the part of...
Yeah. If he doesn't have technical knowledge, he doesn't deserve to be chief.
Yeah, that's true actually. What's the biggest risk of AI in shipping? It's subjective. Cybersecurity threats, job losses, lack of trust.
Say again, choices are?
What's the biggest risk of AI in shipping?
Yeah.
Cybersecurity threats,
Mm-hmm.
job losses,
Mm-hmm.
lack of trust. What do you think?
Tough one, but I would say loss of jobs or realignment of jobs. I mean, a change in status quo of who does what.
Yeah, I mean, of course, things will change. I think there's one question which is interesting. Time charter versus voyage charter. What is the main difference? A, duration. B, cargo type. C, owner responsibilities.
Owner's responsibility.
Okay, Captain Gurpreet, it's...
You made me feel like a second mate, sitting for my orals.
It's lovely catching up, and thank you so much for joining today.
Well, thank you, Rajat.
What I learned from you...
It's been wonderful.
Yeah, because...
chatting with you, and thank you for making me comfortable.
You've done MBA, you've done lot of stunts in life.
Mm-hmm.
These things inspire me, and also I'm sure like the audience who's watching,
Yeah.
they would also feel that this podcast is about giving them knowledge of something which is beyond shipping and sailing. So guys, thank you so much for joining today. I will keep you posted, and in the comments and in the captions I will put Captain Gurpreet's LinkedIn profile, so you could always reach out to him and ask him any questions or any career advice if you have. Thank you so much once again.
Yes,
Port
why
to
not?
Ports you.
Thank you,
so
Rajat.
much.
Been a pleasure.
Thank you so much once again.